Supreme Guide of human beings, to you, the great and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent, destroyer, glorious conqueror, secure from the shackled claim. I prostrate before the field for refuge. To the founder and destroyer, the master foe destroyer, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, endowed with the power of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed. To you, the last of human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, secure from the shackled claim. I prostrate before the field for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the foe destroyer, the fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, endowed with the power of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed. To you, the last of human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the secure from the shackled claim. I prostrate before prince and go for refuge. Majesty of the vast huge, you are born on this earth. You cast out seven stripes and ascend on high and supreme in this world. You who arise then, I prostrate. You embody the form supremely pure. Wisdom ocean like a golden mountain. Being that blazes in the three worlds. Bringer of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. Mercy and light, sun's father spring. Color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the three worlds above. In the paradise one, to you I prostrate. The sea carrying great compassion, the founder having all understanding. The field of miracle qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the divine reality. To the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community attaining virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three every devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bound with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, and all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the foul faults and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness and death. To page 15, the Heart of Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate before the dwelling on Master Bulger's mountain, together with the great community of monks and the great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Babylon was absorbed in concentration and meditation on the Tao perfection. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahashaya looked upon the very practice of the Tao perfection of wisdom and beheld those hearts and minds also sensitive and apprehensive. Then through the power of Buddha and the Mahashaya, transcendence of the Bodhisattva Mahasaya Avalokiteshvara, Mahashaya he said that, and the Bodhisattva said this to the venerable Shariputra. Shariputra then summoned the lineage of all devotees who wishes to practice the activity of the Tao perfection of wisdom, purified like this, may really benefit depending on all modes by navigators also as empty and great nature. All is empty and emptiness is all. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition, practice, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra likewise all form are emptiness. Without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stateless, not possessing, not appreciable,
no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and harm. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three types also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as the truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. Well said, well said, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom that to should imitate. Even the Tathagatas rejoiced. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25, the short mandala.
Sanje Jana Zoji Jana La Chanjo Bada Dani Jas Dage Chijin Yewe Sanam Ye Dora Venje Sanje Du Sanje Jana Zoji Jana La Chanjo Bada Dani Jas Dage Chijin Yewe Sanam Ye Dora Venje Sanje Du Sanje Jana Zoji Jana La Chanjo Bada Dani Jasanji Sanamji Dola Penji Sanje Dola Punzoke Lenji Duwe Go Daya Duwe Ro Gome So Malaysia Jajini Sepeto Shaje So De La Kujas Tunye Nye Sande Jave Lan Jije Zeva Jeden Dwe Jana Gama De So De Zaje De Lundu Pande Zave Lamara Boshi Taki Jura Bende De Jana Gode Jimbe Gode Jimbe Gode Zonto Jimu De Do So 다양한 굴롱 곰데스 자고스로 네 굴롱 곰데다 람림세야디 수수 셈데다 야게 졸라 다야게 람기림바 다티용게 코와스로 코알레 코와 동이 내가래야 최외 탑람기 람기림바데라 람림스고디 람기림바 곰야 퇴가 율리기와 쳐라 퇴벌라 셰벌라 단당한데 데이터 퇴고라 셰벌라 퇴고라 뒤에체도다 퇴야 되라니 지고 체도 많이 받쳐도 좋습니다 탐제의 체도 편도도야 체도니 남림님기요 텐제 굴론데야 오시잖아요 오르스
So, again, one has to cultivate the correct motivation that should be. One is listening to these stages on the path to awakening, which are actually to improve the mind and cultivate the good qualities of mind, in the sense that one wants to become rid of the suffering condition of samsara, or the cycle of existence, and to be liberated from that. And the path, or the means by which you're liberated from samsara, is the lamrim, these graduated steps. So, in order to manifest such a valid path or mental consciousness, first you have to know it. But in order to know it, you have to hear it. You have to hear about it. So, first comes listening and hearing. So, one should motivate. One should motivate before listening, before hearing, with the thought that one is not doing it just for oneself, but at the behest or on behalf of all of the sentient beings.
아야 다 되네 가와 검로 다 되네 람림 직특이 총아디 겨와 상부인 삼지 야부인 전제로 레레다 좋아
Yeah. Now, think, have a joyful mind that one has the opportunity to hear the Lam Rim. That is fortunate, isn't it?
아야 다 되는다 된jel해야지 좀 된데네 조을 주위에네 알아서다 무주기 자벨라마 저지 겨세다 저와 진행이 요 템베텐데지 텐시면가네 니직드마 무슨이 된주사고 마 차직들 드네야 차숨데 기승나지 이제 어두 슬래셔지 당샤스
Now, in a relaxed manner, in the space in front of you, visualize Shakyamuni Buddha, an aspect, an entity, your kind root Lama, surrounded by the root, other root and lineage gurus in the merit field, as we have visualized before. And as we visualize that, we shall recite up to the verse of correct reliance on the spiritual friend. And the verse on the reliance on the spiritual friend we'll recite 3 times and then begin. I bow my head to you, foremost of the Shakyas, whose body is formed by 10 million perfections, virtues, and excellence, whose speech fulfills the hopes of infinite transmigratory beings, whose mind perceives all objects of knowledge. I prostrate to Manjushri and Maitreya.
Whose emanations support the innumerable universes. Assuming the responsibility of all the conqueror's conduct, you are the supreme sons of the fearless future. I prostrate at the feet of Nagarjuna and the Sangha, ornaments of Jambudvipa, renowned throughout the three levels, who compose commentaries in accordance with the intention on the mother of the conqueror so hard to fathom. I bow to Tipakara and Isha, holder of the treasury of instructions, that gathers together the important points completely and unmistakably of the paths of the profound view and vast conduct. The excellent lineages descending from the two great charioteers, I prostrate respectfully to the spiritual teachers, eyes that see all infinite scriptures, who with skillful means, moved by compassion, clarify the supreme entryway for the fortunate traveler to liberation. The stages of the path to enlightenment are the excellent lineage handed down from Nagarjuna and the Sangha, crown ornaments of the wise of Jambudvipa, and banners of the fame and splendor among transmigration beings. This instruction, the king of powerful jewels, fulfills all the desired aims of the 9 types of beings in an ocean of glorious and excellent explanations, gathering the earth from thousands of through it you can realize that all the teachings are without contradiction, understand all the scriptures as an instruction, easily find the intention of the conqueror, and be protected from the effects of the very faulty conduct. Therefore, this supreme instruction is relied on by many fortunate ones, the wise beings of India and Tibet. What analytical person would not be captivated by the stages of the path of the 3 types of beings? Contemplate the meaning of this method that gathers the essence of all the scriptures. Even teaching or hearing a single session definitely gathers great waves of the simple benefits of explaining or listening to the Holy Dharma. Rely correctly and with effort in thought and action on the Holy Spiritual Friend, the teacher of the path, and the foundation perfectly bringing auspiciousness for all the excellent collections of this and future lives. Having seen this, do not give them up even at the cost of your life, and please them with the offering of practice just as they instruct. You, the perfect Guru, practice in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Rely correctly and with effort in the thought and action on the Holy Spiritual Friend, the teacher of the path, and the foundation perfectly bringing auspiciousness for all the excellent collections of this and future lives. Having seen this, do not give them up even at the cost of your life, and please them with the offering of practicing just as they instruct. You, the perfect Guru, practice in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Rely correctly and with effort and thought and action on the Holy Spiritual Friend, the teacher of the path, and the foundation perfectly bringing auspiciousness for all the excellent collections of this and future lives. Having seen this, do not give them up even at the cost of your life, and please them with the offering of practicing just as they instruct. You, the perfect Guru, practice in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way.
다 dunyeegi tanda tumba chumdendeni zoe juwe choji jiwa sedan chaka samjeegi chinlap wezedin de tu susu lulu maa tim luga naza simgi dungi ta mikse ni shinyi dinzu ye da jik parche chesho di shinyi la makuwa tang shinyi kala maa zewa dazarwa wadi zoge dikdib tazu paa chanshin thane ni susu yula shinyi dinzu tokwa kiawa jen yula jeso tengures.
Dependent on that dissipation, light rays of nectar flow down from the central figure, Guru Shakyamuni Buddha. In reality, one's kindly Guru and the lineage lamas, and that light enters into your body and mind, dispelling sickness of body and mentally, particularly non-virtues in general, but specifically the non-virtues of having not relied correctly on the spiritual friend by showing disrespect and not following the holy advice. So all of those non-virtues of not relying correctly are purified, and one realizes Guru devotion.
ya da de ne lam ji zawa shi ni den se da de ne lo shi da ji we rin ba se shen du da lam la jam be rin ba de zo tebe den la ning gulen be shi ku wa tebe zo lu den de ne de ma sam la de stan ro de je la lu den de ye ka wa shi ye na ji bu la wa da zhuo ne ji zawa sum chiwang ye nam jing mi chiwe zi chue me do kang me fe ma sa de sam la de tenjo den je da chiwa me da wa de ma bang je sam la de stan de ra
So, having, correctly relied on the spiritual friend, then how the students now are led sequentially in stages along that path to enlightenment. Firstly, by recognizing being human and being exhorted to make use of being human, by reflecting how difficult it is to be human, but at the same time, how easily the human support is lost. And then laterally thinking on death and impermanence in that regard. So the three roots, three reasons, three conclusions, that ninefold reasoning. Please reflect on perfect human rebirth and death and impermanence.
oh ya da de sig sa sum jo tenjo de je da chiwa me da wa sig nim do ma sa sum jo ja na
So now those two verses on perfect human rebirth on page 5 and death and impermanence respectively, we'll do those 2-3 times. So this body of leisure, more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, is found but once, though difficult to obtain again. It finishes as quickly as lightning in the sky. Having reflected in this way, realizing that all worldly activities are Vinocha. You must take its essence day and night. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Although there is no certainty that after death you'll not be reborn in the bad migrations, the three rare sublime ones will definitely protect you from this fear. Therefore, steadfastly take refuge in them and never degenerate their precepts. In addition, think well about the results of black and white actions and depend on the correct practice to be adopted and that to be rejected. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. This body of leisure, more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, is found but once. Turn again. It finishes as quickly as lightning in the sky. Having reflected in this way, realizing that all worldly activities are like winnowed chaff.
You must take its essence day and night.
You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Although there's no certainty that after death you'll not be reborn in the bad migrations, the three rare sublime ones will definitely protect you from this fear. Therefore, steadfastly take refuge in them and never degenerate their precepts. In addition, think well about the results of black and white actions and depend on the correct practice of that to be adopted and that to be rejected. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, would also practice in this way. This body of leisure, more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, is found but once, though difficult to obtain again. It finishes as quickly as lightning in the sky. Having reflected in this way, realizing that all worldly activities are like nature. You must make existence day and night. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Although there's no certainty that after death you will not take in the bad migrations, the three rare sublime ones protect you from this fear. Therefore, steadfastly take refuge in them and never degenerate their precepts. In addition, think well about the results of black and white actions and depend on the correct practice of that to be adopted and that to be rejected. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, liberation, will also practice in this way.
아야 다드네 시니 좋아다 치왕의 남징임에 치 다드 상마 치 치왕의 와당 남징임에서 지도 미다고라 주어 치고라 그래서 다디 가서 미게 통고여라 제 치와 미다고라고 하된 가서 인지미지 곰자 주치고 말 냠뇨 곰잡선다야 질 하루버지 군 돈바준된데 된데 곰는 미ግ들 삼놓고 야수수 심는 똑배직 서제 공부다 다단다 니 치워미다와 근데 감당 말아 무슨지 통하여라 가서 미시루도 돼로 미직단다 우당게 된게 시니 단다 말아서다 산주다다로 다 단다 미가시 가시에다 주모도 답자쇼로 가시 맹강나라다 다다 단다베 뒤수 단다 다가라나가서 미든데 시도고요. 안데 좀 무슨 통구도 미시봉 무슨 통구도 다라래다. 그 치왕에 뒤뒤 녀에 두고도 돼요. 다 남징에 메데 인지민지 김zen고에 저 말해 돼. 무슨 먼저 하고도 안 그러는데 상단 녀에 신기도 돼. 미가시 보고 취주간의 시도고도 가시 긴고전의 시도도 가두시 땡게면도 제가 네 가래 네 간에 된 총어래. 유전지도 주어도 요래 유단 젠래되네 유전지 온게다 주어도 요래 당고 어디 신고래 상들어
Reflecting then on the death process, that it's definite but its time is uncertain. The reasons for this are that we contemplate impermanence, we contemplate death and impermanence. It is to encourage us to reflect on it. And you don't need to meditate very profoundly for this. You can see the gross level of death occurring. You can see it directly around us. It's unlike when you meditate on Buddha or a deity. You have to put great effort to visualize. That's not like that here, because when you're meditating on the gross level of death and impermanence, one can see it directly. One can see people passing away, taking their last breaths. One can see in the news accidents, people dying in hospitals and so forth. And this is happening right now in front of our eyes. So it's our exact experience. And in that sense, the first point around death and impermanence, that death is definite. One doesn't need a vast array of reasons. It is the case that some people die as infants, some die young, some die teenager, some die older. Now, why is this occurring? This is due to causes and conditions. One should reflect on that.
다디 베나 나 모다 대자셔는 미지 시비나 모다 대자셔버디 유진로와 다디라 니 탄도야 레레 되어요 베나 미 모다지그나래야 미드윤 제지요나로와 모다당니 제나 콘도 대자셔나 산산라 아니 미직 마시 미상마시로거다라 미신다 미직 하기도 하대로 미직 선보되기도 갈chen 되고라고 유전직 보라로 어딜 다 랜드 가르자가서나 다 레라 줘요래서 다들
Now, let's look at the example of an accident, the cause and conditions behind an accident. For example, if a car hits something or a car hits a body, and then there are 7 or 8 people in that car, all of them die except for one, so one is left over. One has to understand that on a cause, the level of behavioral cause and effect as well.
다들 수수 제대로 모두 답자셔는 시야게 레 사면은 모두 답자셔는 시기요 말이로 레 맞춰봐다 맞춰 써야 되다.
Now, if in this life one has not created the cause to die in such an accident, you won't experience the result of dying in the accident. So this is not experiencing the result. If you don't create the cause, this characteristic of karma.
제가 레 맞춰봐다 밑에 제가 취미에서 레 맞춰봐다 밑에디 그나 다자 좀 맞춰줘도 봐도 좀 봐도다 오늘 다두고 뒤지 중으로 봐 가르치는 저는 권한저 저와 망볼라 레 삼바 벨레가 야부 짱짱 제대로 인자 되길 때네 아니 뒤지 중으로 다두고 뒤지 중으로 봐 어디다 두스려 말한저 단다 니 다두 뒤지 마서는 언제다 다두 뒤지 마 단다라 겨 내가 야부 지토요 말해 진짜는 안절레 데비드 태고 말다 레 맞춰봐다 밑에 쓰디로
Now, in that context, not experiencing the effects of the action that you did not do. We're talking about this third quality of karma, and here, if we take the example of the Buddha amassed over a long period of time a vast array of good merit and deeds, and experienced the result of that which was only good. So we, conversely, we haven't gotten to the state of maturational bliss or final bliss because we haven't created the cause to do so. So this is an example of that third aspect of karma.
제가 좀 된데 좀 다시 좀 사제도 저 타베 저왕압자 마다베 저왕압자 저린 인소라 디 심지신 돈달러다 수수 레뇽기 다가서래 레단 뇨모 라메와 코데베 디지기요 마딜 장가요 말아 심지신 이디 유튜브야 치드네 타베 저왕압자다 마다베 저왕압자 렘베 인세 심지신라 신동기 시디 신기 치드 와 먼저 튼튼된라 신기 아니 신기 최소 돈달러 수수 최소다 밀류된라이나 미신다 로 신기 돈달러 수수가 최소다 딘데체는 쓰고다 디겨와 딘데라 겨와도 겨왕압장압제 딩만이 겨월래서 가시에 가는서 겨와디 지고라 도부 산제게로 전전 접된 겨와디 파션 다와징이지 로징이지 다와징이지나라 니 둔다 가시지나라 산제 instant samdana sheja misiba de yonga koran yamare sledinde jezam daja dumba sheje tuba loju du zuma dawina ne anzo kale japje ta kyawa dela suzu khandu jeduji ne doa shen la ya pendo khazu tuduji chiti chigin se de chedubi na 다게 디고 orta 다가랑 디고 orta kyawa dela inde che ne kyawa jema dela dile yas kyawa jema dela dile dine yas dus cheje doya samdangi na ne anzo be project chambure dara right
Yes. So in that context, then Lord Buddha, in order to get that final result in terms of creating or experiencing the result similar to the cause, created for 500 lives, as an impure being, and 500 lives as a pure being, over a vast period of time. Lord Buddha created these merits not out of a lack of volition, but with the motivation just for sentient beings. In short, with the aspiration to work for the welfare of all living beings. And in those lifetimes, a lot of those lifetimes, he would have given himself up, literally, in the form of an animal, for for countless beings, and also gave his body up in the form of a human for countless living beings. So it was with an intention of that altruism. Now, for us, then, if we are able to do such a thing for 1 month or however long, it would be difficult in context when we start thinking enlightenment might be quick for us over a short period of time to get the same goal would not be realistic. Would not be realistic at all. But we can be assured that if in this lifetime we make sincere effort to work for the welfare of others, then that is it. That is the sole purpose of this life. And having done that, having secured that base in this life, then the next life will be better. So what we come to see from this, if you actually look at the historical accounts of Lord Buddha and what he did to amass a vast store of virtue, this is a big project for us.
그래서 강바자야다 최저자야다 프로젝트 전부인데 그러네 저는 프로젝트 들려 채셔.
One thinks, I don't know, building a house or even what Dharma Center. Dharma Center is a big project. This is faster than that. This project of Buddhahood.
와, 제가 레마체바다 밑에 세대. 저야 배든데샤나 배데 삼다나야고 그런저 지도나 미카시 배샤르시도 깔레쇼 있잖아. 배샤치느라 의문더라. 어디? 배샤서 레사요 말고 제가 레마체바다 책이요 말이디 어디리다.
We can see the examples of not experiencing the effects of actions one did not do, even within the vicinity. There are people who work so hard to get money, but somehow they don't make money. Because they didn't create the cause to get the money. That is the karmic aspect of not experiencing the result. If you don't create the cause.
달래 가르쳐야만 짐바당 겨와시만 짐바당요 말어 짐바. 짐바당에 인자 짐베 롱조 용고요 말아서. 싱가간라 파스 먼저 매도 코멘나 매도 그 세마다는 매도 지금인도 지버래 어디.
It is akin to not sowing seeds in a field and expecting the seeds to grow into flowers that you haven't planted. So what's being said is charity. If one had practiced generosity, one would have experienced the result of one's actions, but one didn't. So the field example.
네, 짐바 다야라 아니 상승이 짐바 추기 짐바 민지고 잡지 짐바세 짐바인데 여러 짐바라 짐베난 게 짐바죠. 알아서 가셔야. 미 방고도 짐바 갔다 오래 달아와. 면도와서 짐바 다야요. 밀게 무게로와 밀게 무게 계좌야고시 겸게나 겸게라 도선당문도 베샤대문도라 아디다 바로 심가베이나 아니 대 바로버슬 심나 가와단 대와지고라 안텔레데베 소남사고요 소남사나 소남르데베 소남데베 미 삼만남jan도스 롱조이레 카리네 도용고요라.
Now, of course, practicing generosity, there are different ways one can do it. It doesn't mean necessarily giving material things. One can, of course, give material things, but there's the generosity of love and generosity of bestowing protection from fear. In terms of generosity of love, if you see poor people, you don't have, or people that are down and out, you don't have to give them material things particularly. If you were to make them happy, to lift them up mentally, this would, because that makes them happy, this is a source of merit. And it is said that merit is, on a causal level, is what results in wealth.
다 단대티즈의 밀게임가 가고 시저라 카레제 카레점니 카레를 게임게 이제인데 속어서 카레들 리무 게임게 된 여러분 티잖아. 디야고 있어다.
Now, but these are the times when it's difficult to make people laugh because most people are wearing a mask. So why don't we draw a smiley on the mask?
이제 디스에서는 겸게는 이제 카레 겸게는 이제.
Yeah. Then make a mask smiling disposition. Then mask is happy.
아 다라 당기 간서 되는 뭐 모도가 도라. 유지가 도라. 다 뒤지도 미망부터 여러 미면도 미상만 나라야 죽셔라. 이게 다들 레준데레스로 간서 뒤진 샘진 상마야 죽고요. 와자나라 작작나라야 죽고요. 파죽단 록단이 딩상다 치우다. 아니 지다시미다 상마야 작작나라야 죽고요. 고자제 죽샤고라 야 죽고라. 건성원에서나 라원시제 돈이 테러 치료를 돈도들어 다 렌데 코다 다 미상모 야죽 다 돈도상 마테 다디 다디 간저 렌데 데우리 샤테스 당기
I was thinking when I went shopping in the car, there was quite quiet. There didn't seem to me many people out and about. The people where were there, of course, they were all inside. And I was thinking, that's kind of like karma, isn't it? Because the way the human beings have treated the animals is to herd them economically and keep them in one place. What the animals really wanted was to roam free. But now the opposite has occurred. We humans are inside and the animals are out and about.
그래서 냐코랑 가지 신제 샤고라 냐콘도는 저는 추기라베 라만지 도고라 냐베 빌림밀린 베자원 추 타나를 잡지 샤고르와 아니 가시 세고르와다 제단다 디레 데부코르 당안절라 딱다스 코르 잡고다데 코르스 잡인 거다데
How many fish have been farmed for the purpose of that and gotten into one small area? Well, what we're experiencing is the direct karmic result of that sort of action.
당안저 미디 이제 어디 동해디 신나야고 열다 그러봐 군저 다스스 죽샤디 부수도 보제는 강에도 와 튼튼들라다 안저 단도 밀라다야 참장돼야 열에 인터넷이 간에 계시야 열어 안 튼튼들 된데 시야 메라 튼튼 인터넷에는 계시는 시야메 소셜 미디어는 도서메 아니 닝제래도 와서라야.
It is good to have compassion still for animals, however, to know the sufferings between humans and animals. We humans can still go for walks and access news on the internet. We have social media. Animals, not access to the above. We should have compassion for them.
세상 내 맞춰보다 미데스. 다 제와 취미서 써야 돼. 아무도 밀어파 야구 제비나 야구 제와 되게 레그 데비 베나다는 짐바담바이나 롱조 연구여러 와. 아니 미가셰도 배샤 돈달라 깔레시라 마잖아나 배샤 배우러지 레로거다. 어디 저 아마 짐바담 저 세청아마 세다가라라 생골레 짐바담 된데 그 데우게 아니 세델라 두미인 거로 어디래?
The fourth characteristic of karma is that the actions one has done in terms of karma do not go to waste. There are people who seem to, without much effort, get wealth, obtain wealth. It just comes to them easily. What is being said is that in the past lives, this person created the cause and those karmic results ripened.
어디 레 맞춰거든요. 제가 추면서 써야 되더래. 당랑서 지파 어느도 된데도 왔어봐. 서버 공부이나 네 가려운 거래. 서버 공부 양고되네. 쇠배기다 배 미디 직 미는 미가시 통일 조용 거다 그래서 그래. 더 넘버 돈닝 조면은 셈나 통일 조용 거다. 어디 쇠배기다. 쇠배기 윤대라네 학벌도 쇠바단 수림님도 손 안에 제보 닝제보 용거여러. 아니 매갑 저 말어. 도서만 못당 말어. 아, 그래야. 매갑 거네 쇠바 거는 쇠바 약실에.
And then action one has done not perishing. There is the fact that people who have practiced patience, do you want to look at them somehow? And even if they're not good looking, you want to look at them. And if they have practiced patience as well as ethics, you could want to look at them and they're good looking. So in so in that second case, you don't need makeup and you don't need to waste money on makeup because you're already attractive.
아니 근데도 와다 세상 알아서 콘도 시축 전부 채나 아니 되게 아니 람 마주베체 콘도는 스스 마주베다 여러와 아니 데 파르볼 마주베 스베 레그나미게 아니 마움발라 미디 직 미나레 둔도이나레 토니 마토바 차야다 미기 데와치니 마토바 예지시니 마토바데 용구도 아와 두성 안조다 콘도게 레게 되고 콘도 사베 레게 되고 어디서 샤고요 레스라
And conversely, the direct maturational result in terms of behavioral cause and effect of anger is that oneself is upset and others are upset. Could be human and or animal, that you don't want to look at them, they are not attractive to look at, or you don't even, let alone, not want to look at them, you don't want to connect with them and talk to them. So
알레 세두 삼다요는 당부 셈벨레당 삼벨레 시제 다 이기레당 이기레슬람나 코데르와 예 셈바 이기레니 디줄루당 아이레 라라 셈바 당부 셈벨레 아니 이기레 그와 레사데 기신 레그티니 샤운데 심준 셈바 랍송아 어디 원시기 레사요 말 원시기 미시기 레사요 말 레디 이기 시베사고 이기 시베로 세상 이기 시베스도 셈나라 당부 tengugoyorda semnalo kununji ngonda soe tobge ene tengugoyora.
Essentially what we should know about karma is, as we mentioned last week, what is karma, this mental factor of intention, karmic volition. Of course, there are actions which are physical and verbal, but it is this mental quality of karmic volition or mental intention that is karma. And here, what's being said is it is a motivation.
Yeah,
so from the mental intention, then karma follows, doesn't it? Action. Yeah. Right, so simply put, when we look at the production of volition of karma, there's body, speech, and mind. There's physical, verbal, and mental actions by way of entity.
다 이기 낙심 뉴심 lokta 세트들와 낙심 뉴심 lokta 낙심 뉴심 니싱도 왕아 미들은 너버디 제고 그제디 셰고 셈나라 다데 망부 탱기도 어디래다 미지고 말해 튼두들라 되네요 아니 지 고육숨요는 지 셈나라 당보지 지다 뭐다 유베 퍼버라 네베 셈바지 레기도 지 미데버서야 그 군롱으로 보지 지글레 용도 어디 디심날 코르마고네 주시래요 말다 어디 뉴심 세더와.
Let's look at then the karmas that are created mentally, those of harmful intent, covetousness, and wrong view. So this first negative mental karma of harmful intent, one is intended to harm others by whatever means. That could be humans or animals, or indeed the environment. You might intend to harm them physically or verbally, whatever. But if you carry around this harmful intention, you will be ill at ease. It is a burden to carry.
And 납심스도다 지금 바로보게 잘라든데 지금 알고도 지금 알고도 바로 수술 마음 버지 수술로 고도 서와다 되바 되영암단 되어라 납심세야 되면 바로로 원외 직잘라이나레 니 강바이나레 ngu이나레 미나레 초고이나레 도모이나레 가레나지 수술을 마다 된거지 딩알아 고도 삼삼시도와 어디에 납심라야 되다.
The covetousness is when you start having thoughts of wanting something that someone else have, in a sense. You're thinking about how to get that sometime in the future. This covetousness is related directly to desire. That could be for money, a house, whatever, a friend even, or something that someone else has.
다 록다시 먼저 미기주난에 록다디 다 거네 아니 낭바단 치료바단 정말 개화용서도 되네 연구하다. 지단게 직준 담아 쓰존나서 누존도 배진 록 미기와 주다 마차 출루만차게 돼 켈렌치고 있으래로 송야 수림 송야데 켈렌치고 이나 디나네 록다딜라다 남바산제에 있는 렌데를 록바타와 렌데 요 마레스타와
Yes.
디 록바타와로다 다 이슈도 저희는 군조 요 마레스라면 딜 록바타와 시그와 아니 개와 록데가네다 출룩소소 개와들의 연구도 군조 이슈 요 마레라나 저런 록다제 레시그로다 이슈 냐오두고 레시그로다 먼저 남바이나 에 이시 요 말을라나 냐어제 말에 매월 라라 록다 말데 데 수수줍다라 레준데 요 말을라나 록다라 레준데 요르와 요니 요 말을라나 록다 차도고 요라 아니 군저 근데 직디 고버직 요 말을라나 네데 매월 라나 쫀다 맨도 오네신 타이나데 수수줍데 온거와 줍데 소고 요르와 다 록다 디가네 아니 출룩수수기 개와드 페이지 내내 숙점블레기도.
Right. Now, if we look at this third mental infraction of wrong view, how does it come about? Well, we can look at it from the point of view of Buddhists and non-Buddhists. In fact, if we look across the board, if we look at the first of these 10 non-virtues, such as the physical and verbal ones, like not to kill, not to steal, and so forth, these are probably similar or very close between the faiths in terms of that ethical constraint, isn't it? But when it comes to this one of wrong view, here it is in terms of if from a Buddhist point of view, if you were to say that cause and effect or karma doesn't exist, that would be wrong view. So here you've deprecated, you've taken an existent and said it doesn't exist. Deprecation. But if from another point of view, this is like a philosophical view of wrong view. Because from another religious point of view, for example, if you're a Christian, they would say that you should believe in God, for example. And if you do not, you could go to an unfortunate place. However, when we look at that from our point of view, that is taking a non-existent, they've taken a non-existent there to not exist, haven't they? In actual fact, the reality is that they've taken it the wrong way around. So the view of wrong view and this deprecation is dependent on the tenant.
아주 수수기 따와나 수수 되발라 되어요라.
Yeah.
인지민지기 먼저 낭배 따와디 야고레 디도레 세게요 말이야. 좋아.
Yeah.
수수라 군조 요와게 수수 심는 팬디우도나 다가랑 도나 디고르다. 다디 수수랑어레 미시지게 먼저 저런 디 야고레 디두자레 슬라이드죠. 딱제 체네로 릭바다 미게바다 ngoynezude tum바다. 두둑해 좀 물어봐다. 좋아.
Yeah. So now, from a Buddhist point of view, we don't take the law of causality as a non-existent because that is in fact the case. It is the reality of the behavioral cause and effect. So, but coming back to this understanding of wrong view, really it comes down to yourself, because the best analysis you can do is from your own reasoning and experience.
아다 디 이기 레 남았음 낙심 느심 록다세 다또 오다 디제 딜레기요 다 디제 당보 미게베 레사운데 어디제 딜레용 거로
Right. So really, when we talk about these three karmic volitions mentally of harmful intent, covetousness, and wrong view, these are ones to guard against because non-virtues come from that, stem from that.
다 이기 미게오 숨로와 다 이기 개워 숨데 디 록저드레 두수 규르샤나 로와 개워 레스디 미게바디 디탄다 이기 숨 낙심 느심 록다드와 다 개워데 가르스나 디 록저 숨디 아니 낙심 메버체 신기 신징오불라 고와 메바당 아니 덴델라야지 구스 메바당 아니 직세나 메바당 아니 신기 롱저다 신라야지 펜심다 닝지다 덴데지 꾸네란제 페 다지 바로에 잘라주 건데 파샤네 단도 파하고 파다야 상당하면 아니 개와 차루고더라 딱 개지슈 셈나라 대운드네 시고야 된 것도 개주무시오래도 홍들이
And when we take the reverse of these three mental non-virtues, covetousness, kind of like ill will, covetousness, and wrong view, and we protect against them, then that becomes a virtue to not look at other people's things and wish for them, to only want others to enjoy their things. So as a countermeasure to miserliness, that generous attitude, may they enjoy the things they've got, out of compassion. And then obviously thoughts of not harming.
진짜다 뉴심지로저라 펜심치야 들어봐다 간다로와 신라 펜도 치야 들어봐 뉴심지로저 그래 신라 펜도 신변기 삼로에는 신라 뇌바지죠 용고 말아봐 근데 신변지로디다 다 된다 알아주다 개치슈디 메제나라 다디 추켈레나레 말레나나 데서 개점물에도 신변치니 미들라 먼저 미나 가거도 든두도 가거도 알아 신뇌바지니들 가거 민도 다디 세브레도 하고 지 인제 미직 추다 추룩단 더 차고문도 ngoyne ju 따데비나 와지 베 미신달라 펜도체 싱 ton달라야 삼시체 베 삼남다게 니지 신변기 내가 친이데 미상마 가워제 네 딩산다 잠링 시대게 땅말라던데 되고라다 로 레미시지 딩산에 잠링 뇌바다니 숙제셔레스 딜라 땅마 되면다라 잠블링 매버서니 잠블링 쿠육 파도다니라 냠바테음도 먼저 냠바스데 잠링 시데다 딘데 친이라 세그다마테 냠바테도 미시지 밀레 네바제니라 냠바테음도 데 제자 디 가르데레스나 먼저 미란신데 밀레 펜도니 가기요디고 와 제자 신뱅게 삼로디요나 뉴심 란슈기 가르고요.
On the non-harming, the exact opposite of that is the wish to benefit other beings. And having a mind that looks out for others' welfare, we're not talking about being Buddhist or not. Because all humans cherish or understand if a person is helpful and altruistic. And not only humans, but also animals like a person who is helpful. Conversely, they seem to know if someone is harming others, let alone humans, they'll just know that, this person is harming. We're not even talking about being Buddhist here particularly. If the person is helpful and altruistic, they have the opposite of harming attitude, harmful intent. And in that sense, they're not going to get a peace prize in the world for wanting to destroy the world or harm people, isn't it? It's normally the people that are altruistic and helpful that get rewarded on that level.
데 나서 뒤에 단다 더 콘서쇼게 가되나 콘서쇼다 닝지길 하래로 아디나 메제나다 닝지 예와도 삼당어서 다 팀만 망복깔라 난도 다 성운에 ngoyne 주레레도 ngoyne 주스나도 인데 이밍 알아서 미란 신코랑래 닝지게 초제대도 알아서 주주간라 밤에 닝지 고고도 한 바르라 수수 조부 조모게 닝지 고고도 따야 로첨부 차스나나 야 나르스다 멤버다도 닝지 고고도 하고 먼저 미고랑 닝지 초고고도 하지 닝지면은 하고 싶지래도 하다. 제산다 단다 지도라 닝지 매버 가르잖아. 다 닝지 대니기 대전 망고지 매버 차도고 여러 매버 차스나다 미데 고급들 다 닝지기 뭐마에나다 줄루카도 닝지나 닝지게 망고 시게 여래. 팅산 미망고 줄루를 시게 여래. 다들도 저 유진 망고지 여러 걸 막아와지. 팅두기 신나라니 닝지기 블롭종 요 말에 장대다 수선다니 저기 닝지 다 팅산 야가지라 팅산다 미 망고지기 팅두기 신나라야 디 닝지다 수선다 니 전반이 샤다 근데 다지 레 저 치매 계제매 왜지 세다가라야지 미디 메제 야고시 게트베 던달라 신 어딘데 저기도 하다도 빼야 버려라.
And indeed, we believe that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is said to be the embodiment of that great compassion. And if we look at the advice that he gives around this notion of a helpful person or a compassionate person, it is reality, because what he says is that from the time we're born, we're under the help of our parents in terms of that affectionate regard, and latterly with friends, even when we get sick, we need doctors and so forth. So the very sustenance of our life as humans is under such a compassionate regard, under under that affection. And if that's going to very much sustain society, although, relatively speaking at this moment, due to causes and conditions, we still lack a lot of compassion in our society and in the world. Why? People are not really studying deeply about compassion, or they're being competitive and only thinking about economies. But we also see the importance of compassion and living in future lives. We see the importance of fostering compassion and mindfulness in this life, in some places.
다드네 록다기 록조딜라 카레란스나 아니 랜델레 이치바데와
Yeah.
랜델레 이치바데 카레스나 당부 균데가 남샤 셰오르와 다디 랜데 요바데 간데 두고레라 나게 랜데 요다 메사디 다도 삼노 당고랑 베낭아란서 야 가드이나 저런서 시다 건서 진짜 전다도 하고 그래야 내 사바 가셔 요인자 나 디균 삼노 다가란 당게 요인자 나 직전에 ங்கே 삼다디 저런서 땅라게 요 말이 나랑게 근데 삼노 땅연디 양코지 배 가서 그래지 랜델레 이진이야라 편도 용도도 배나 야야야야 롱아 아말레 저런 아마르와 아니 다 잠블링들라 배나 아마 망보셔 디가둘라 야래 이지미지게 아마 직직보 당고야 그래나라 신다질레 도나 디그르데 만도지 데도가 그래 아니 야면은 껴와데 컨데스 첸리 껴와데 미 껴와데 컨데스 첸리 레레와 말레 껴 니디 미 껴레야데 컨데 유진로 가르레르다 컨데스 첸리 레레서다 왕한저 되지 팅두기 모던 세리 DNA 단데네 망부지 또 제견이 셔로요 디 콘라 컨데스 총래 디 콘라 컨데스 총래 디 랜드 야고요다 오늘 디 매브체 코란 총래 계전 데드 부구신주 계전 소리다 그 삼로 당고라 먼저 디 콘라 컨데스 총래 에서들다 컨데스 총래 에서 어딜 투와 망고 요래 투와 망고다 삼로 망고 담베이나 네 야고 요러와 삼로 땅 준데 남샤디 야야야 티도나 아니 렌데 남샤디 이지 레토야라 펜도 요래 준데 남샤디 코드 많이 나나 렌데 남샤 코드니 두 말아.
Okay. Now, what would the opposite of wrong view be? It would be that one developed a faith in cause and effect. Well, cause and effect, more importantly, the behavioral level of cause and effect, or karma. But in order to understand karma, one first has to at least examine cause and effect. Now, this is a big point. Is karma a reality or not? Behavioral cause and effect. And I have discussed this with some others here, but for a couple that may be new, it's useful to share one's experience around this. Is karma a reality or not? A lot of questions come up around karma. And rightly so. In my experience, I thought about this a lot when I was young. It is really beneficial at this stage to think on karma. So, for example, I came into this world with just one mother of all of the beings in the world. Why that particular person? Why was that person my mother? How was I born to this person, and why was I born to this person? Thinking deeply on these questions. Okay, so there is the answer of the DNA level, that you were born because of a certain substance, that kind of matter level. But there is something behind that. And, that you don't want to give an answer just like a child, a child an answer that fobs them off like that. Oh, it's just DNA or parents. Something deeper. And it's very good to have these doubts and raise a lot of questions around it.
다들 아니 먼저나 예시바디 싱도질 파마저지 인지미지 파메 쿠라를 두고 그래라. 로야. 디칼레데 자원 당문에 싱도질 파 주잖아. 아니 그 레로다. 디 죽으면도 디 파마를 두고 해야 돼 가래데. 셰와드. 일단 디 데와디 레엑소 여러다. 레레도 그 데와 소니디 레레도. 다디 딩산데레 간서 단다디 Wi-Fi के passport लूना Wi-Fi the connection take दो ठीक है जी passport से होते ले नहीं passport से तो रहता.
So in that sense, now the deeper question of one's mind or mental consciousness, did it come about just like you'd plant a seed and get a tree? Would it have been as easy as that? Did that come from the parents? No, I don't think it could be as easy as that. There would be a karmic correlation here. In order to access the Wi-Fi, one needs the condition of a password to bring it to fruition.
어디들이 자단다 다리 자디 지단 레들 시 삼바 조바 타두시 다 망고 띵서부시다 셰르데 당을 개지슈데 가라도 초응어 나라야 개지슈데 낙심 뉴심 록다 디게디 지기요 말해서 봐 디게디 이기 레스면 가나 하는 나다 류디 란슈치 가용 거랬어 개지슈데 이기 레스음디 디도랑저 삼문 망보 땅 딕파 가야라 아니 지 낙심니스 록다 메베 토네다 심디 계획을 내토이나 아니 류가니데 아니 제레용고요 레스로.
Now, of course, we can go more thoroughly into karma in terms of basis, intention, action, and conclusion of an action in terms of karmic path. But I think it's very important to understand these three mental karmas of, harmful intention, covetousness, and wrong view. Why is that? Because it is in dependence on a mind, on a mental volition, that these other karmas of body and speech are accumulated. So it's good to just be aware of the mind first.
다들 지난주 둔다 디난라다 록다운 체디 투저요로 아니 람린 치면나 시 삼바 조와 타도도 로샤나 하고 있어.
But during the following week, it would be good if we could read about these aspects of karma. There is a basis, an intention behind the action itself, and then the action is concluded. Those four things. It's good to go through them.
Oh yeah, that 개지슈디 레 마체바다 미데 체와 추면서 세야다. 아니 레메다 미게와 숨 리기 이 룽아 유숨이나네 이지 레 숨디다 게와 숨다 미게와 숨디 도세 마체 다디 베진 디다디 데링디 디버치 싫어.
most important is that we reflect on the fact that we won't experience anything that we have not created the cause to experience, that we have not created the cause to do so. And also that karma doesn't go to waste once accumulated. But amongst these three doors of body, speech, and mind, most important is the mental karmas we are creating. And we understand those non-virtuous mental karmas of the thought to harm or covet others' possessions and have wrong views. But more importantly, the opposite, the virtues. We'll continue to read from the text. Yeah, from where we left off. So then we're going on the bottom of page 5. Until you attain a body with pure characteristics, you will not make progress in your practice of the supreme path. Train in the causes for becoming free from those. Since your three doors are defiled by negative actions, downfalls, karmic obscurations, therefore continuously cherish four forces.
You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation,
Will
will also
practice in this way. If you do not put effort into true sufferings, the faults of samsara, you will not
develop the wish for liberation. If you do not contemplate true origins, the steps of entry
in samsara, you will not understand how to cut the roots of samsara. Therefore, rely on weariness,
definite emergence from samsara, and cherish the knowledge of what binds you to samsara. You, the
perfect Guru, practiced in this way.
I, who am
Seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Veneration of the mind, of the Mahayana path, taught in great waves of conduct, a philosophical stone transforming all into the two collections, gathering infinite virtue. Having understood this, the heroic children of the conquerors maintain deeply the pledges.
You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Generosity is a wish for things, satisfying the hopes of transmigratory beings. The supreme weapon cutting the knot of miserliness. The activity of the children of the conquerors that strengthens courage without dismay. As the basis of being renowned in the 10 directions. Having understood this, the wise rely on the excellent path of giving away their bodies, possessions, and virtue.
You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Morality is water cleansing the stains of faulty behavior. Moonlight dispelling the hot torment of the afflictions. As splendid as Mount Meru in the midst of the 9 types of beings, it gathers all transmigratory beings. Having understood, holy beings guard morality as they do their eyes. Guru,
Practiced in this way. I, who
am seeking liberation,
will also practice in this way. Patience is the finest ornament of the powerful, the supreme of all hardships counteracting the torment of the afflictions. The Garuda against the enemy,
the snake of hatred, and thick armor against the weapon of harsh speech.
having
Understood this, cultivate the armor of supreme patience in many ways. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Don armor like effort, steady and immovable.
the qualities of scripture and realization will increase like the waxing moon. All your behavior becomes meaningful, and whatever actions undertaken will be accomplished as desired. Having understood this, the conqueror's children put forth building ways of effort, dispelling all laziness. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Concentration is the king ruling the mind. When placed, it is as movable as a Mount Meru. When set forth, it engages all virtuous objects. It induces the great bliss of the service of body and mind.
Having understood this, the Lord of Yogis rely continuously
on the meditative stabilization that destroys the enemy distraction.
You, the perfect Guru, practice in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Wisdom is an eye seeing profound thusness.
The path eradicating the root of existence, a treasury of qualities praised in all the scriptures, and renowned as the supreme lamps dispelling the darkness of ignorance.
Having understood this, the wise who desire liberation generate the path with much effort. You, the perfect Guru, practice in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way.
One-pointed concentration alone is not considered to be able to cut the roots of samsara. Wisdom separated from the path of karma binding will not avert the afflictions, no matter how much you analyze.
Having mounted the wisdom that reflects on the real mode of existence upon the horse of steadfast karma abiding, with the sharp weapon of the logic of the middle way, free of extremes, destroy all mental fabrications grasping at extremes. With vast wisdom analyzing in this way, increase the wisdom that realizes thusness. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. The meditative stabilization achieved by one-pointed meditation is not enough. With the individual investigation of proper analysis, stabilization that abides firm, immovable in the mode of existence.
Having seen this, understand how wonderful are those who endeavor to accomplish union with karma abiding.
And special insight. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Equipoise, emptiness is like space. Meditation, emptiness is like an illusion. Through meditation on both, method and wisdom are unified, whereby the perfect conduct of the conqueror's children is praised. Having realized this, the tradition of those gone fortune, satisfied path alone. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Having generated the common path necessary to supreme Mahayana path, the causal and resultant.
Rely on the protector, a skillful master, and enter the great ocean of the classes of Tantra. Then through reliance on complete and perfect instructions, make the attainment of your leisures and endowments meaningful. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Due to the virtue from explaining in clear words the perfect complete path pleasing to the conquerors, so as to familiarize my mind with it, and to benefit others of good fortune. I make prayer, may all transmigratory beings never be parted from the excellent pure path. You, the perfect Guru,
Practiced in this way.
I, seeking liberation, will also practice in this way.
Any questions at all?
Is it online? No. Yeah.
Regarding the magnifying effect of karma.
Yes.
So I mean, if like there are, I've heard the story that if you like kill a sandfly now,
Yeah.
and you don't do any purification, like maybe in like 1 month or something, that equals killing a human. That seems pretty heavy considering we probably dropping all those insects in the garden and taking off the car. Is that true?
Gisela, the question was around the multiplication or increase of karma. So that, for example, if one kills a sandfly and one day and it goes unpurified for a month, that can be equal to having taken the life of a human, which seems pretty heavy given the case that we've probably killed lots of insects. The tiwa when a cockroach young when a sandfly boo chung chung the trip the majangna rwa the dawachi ki jera di mi gi se tan shi le ya phe to res the Condensed the chikpa sapo mare be karisana ngan bu chongmo mambu ses
Nidarwa de dirwa danda de le peche was said in 단다 란신지 카나마도 와서와 다 좀된데 그 켈레 매베게 동화도 zor라 폐야 배진 자 유지 말해 폐가 유서 말해라 당저 찬선유 동방아 동바 두들레나 아니 페르고르다 동화 직내 니차 니네 시차 시내 제차 두 페르고 두스레 미시 지당게 란신지 카나마도 와서 된데 좀된 까다 무슨 마게바들라 폐야 배진 요게제 요 말해
There are certain things that Lord Buddha stated in terms of precepts, and then there were general infractions that wouldn't have had the same weight. Yeah, that's cool. So, for example, if beings had taken vows, like bodhicitta or tantric vows, and then done those misdeeds, then there would be an increase, but not generally if you hadn't.
딜레야 탑람이어래 먼저 뉴시자직 되어네 동안에 폐가 제송도 이제 뉴시자직 되어이나 동안 폐야디 니제로요 레소라
That is why we have the countermeasure of doing the 21 Vatasattva recitations every day, so that that increase does not happen.
다디 덴버와 나가 동바 송바이나 아니 폐 할래요 여러바다 간다로와 근데 폐여나 다 예버대 차요 그지 리버대 좀제 덴버라로
Well, if one thinks that taking a tantric commitment has so much potency and power, one has to conclude logically the opposite is true. The infraction is strong.
나가 동바 렌제 냠네 야고체나 체맥이 레도 타기여서 오라
Yeah, because if you take the tantric vows, you can purify the 5 uninterrupted, what's that called? Deeds.
디 제가 디라고 여러분 지당이 미 완도도 남바 마이니 지게네 부직 세위나 그런데 폐야케요 말이다 디요 말이
I do not think
나가 동바 켈레나 다요래다
I do not think for example, the non-Buddhists that kill an insect, it will increase like that. I do think for those that have taken tantric vows, they will get that increase.
어디 다 되셔 이스라피
Page 31 for the short mandala.
베제저제 메도다 레라렌시 닌데 겐바 산제 젠데 메데 와예 드거난다 셴마 쮸파라쇼 세라덴시 나가 튼레 초주 제와타 로산 덴베 드메사 드웨 메세다도 네교지 거레레 멘데라 감예야다야
Page 33 for prayers of dedication.
게와디 뉴드다 라마산제 루제제 도체 자만레와 데살고 쇼쇼제르고 체마게바나게 요냐베메와야 코네반데 베와쇼 자자와다 쉐샤와다 제세르고 이서 요와제다 제제다 와다 제서고 지주침봉 다다 신기 두선다 되게 선녀는 자와셔자 두바 예 템바예 나도 제제다 나네 선녀는 저걸로 선다 예 템바예는 바주제 저와 zon가베 제제나 두바나니 노라이쇼 순한데 던제세과에 공부하지 지라지네 가다가 지वे라 시베돌레도 도라이쇼 바르베고 외심하데 베나데와 마나지가네 지내서 샤베제데바도 댕조지
And all its circumstances be complete. The wish granting, wish fulfilling joy, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. The comparer of the kind, tempting death, though I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Savior of the snow-lane teachings and transmigratory themes, it makes extremely clear the path that is the invitation of happiness and compassion. The lotus holy tempting death, though I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously
fulfilled.
You uphold the securest moral way, who serves the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading much enough victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please grant us one. By relying on the true accumulations of myself and others in the three times, may the teachings of the conqueror less on track plays for a long time.
I just want to clarify one point I missed. Is that okay? About wrong view. It was said that, for example, from a Buddhist point of view, if you don't, if you don't believe in the law of cause and effect, that could be a wrong view because you've deprecated it, put it down. But from the point of view of another faith, if they were to believe in a creator God from their side, it wouldn't be a wrong view. But from a Buddhist point of view, if we look at their view, if we took that non-existent, which is God, to not exist, that's okay. Clear? Sorry, that was said so fast. I didn't get it. I hope that's clear now. So Geshe went on to say it's all about the way you view. I didn't want to leave that, Geshe. It didn't sound good.